Now on this next part, I'm going to be talking about how to deal with the exposure in this camera. Okay, and with this specific camera, cameras are different. I've never quite seen an iris of where this is, but this is how this camera works. It is on the back of the camera, right next to the viewfinder, and I will point that out. That's not a place where you usually do this. But that's how this one works, so we're going to have to do it this way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to point out what you have to do here is, first thing you got to do is you got to press down the iris button. And the iris button is right here, so you'll hold that down. And then what will happen after I pressed iris, what happened was there was a little number on here on your viewfinder. It has a number. And that number is what we call the aperture. Remember I told you the iris manipulates we're trying to manipulate the how much light is let in. The iris is what manipulates the amount of light is let into a camera. Well, in here is the number, and it goes from, when you press the iris, it becomes black, and then what that says, hey, now you can change the number. You can make your picture lighter, more exposure, or less exposure. How do you do that? Well, you come down here, all right, and right here it's got this really weird thing. It's like basically a little like a switch. You either go down and you will start to see the number go up. So when the number goes up, that means it is closing the iris. Okay, it's closing the iris, and that means you have less exposure on your shot. Or if you go up, and you can feel one step at a time, then it goes up to the all open spot. So that is a little switch right here, and you can feel it if you press up and down on it. It's really tiny, it's easy to work with, and that's how you deal with the exposure on this camera. And you'll, like I said, the lower the number, the more exposure; the higher the number, the less exposure. All right, and that goes into what I was talking about with the in the first part of the semester. The higher the number, less exposure; the lower the number, more exposure. The aperture or the hole inside becomes bigger and smaller.